Suhail Desai, thank you for joining Collective Action Magazine today for an interview around gender-based violence from an LGBTIQ perspective, and you're representing the community. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So we initially had an interesting conversation around your journey as a man that has come out openly gay, yet you come from a very restrictive background from a culture perspective and also from a religious perspective. You're Muslim and you're a very tight-knit community that has a lot of restrictions when it comes to your expression in terms of your sexuality. So our conversation today with you is around gender-based constraints, which is a form of gender-based violence. We want to unpack the impacts of you coming out in this close-knit community. So for our viewers that are not familiar with gender-based constraint, the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence has defined it as disparities and inequalities that all people face that are a consequence of differences linked to their gender, perceived or identity, or an expression of the identity. And these disparities are inequalities because they become barriers of choice of self-expression, which inhibit the access to opportunities and services that have a determined differential outcome for them. Just basically meaning there's a level of segregation or discrimination in terms of the services that they're able to access. They further on explain and say that these disparities and inequalities form constraints when they come to barriers in terms of accessing information and also taking advantages of opportunities that are available. Some of them are simple things like when you want to go through a healing process or trauma process or even health services, because of your gender, your sexual preference, you are hampered or you are discriminated. So this is the basic description in terms when it comes to the National Strategic Plan in terms of gender constraints. If we could just have a little chat and talk about who you are, what you're about, and why are you openly gay as a Muslim man?
I am Suhail Desai. I tell everybody that I am Suhail Desai. Love my name, love my surname. It just has a little beautiful ring to it. So
Absolutely.
I was born South African in Durban. I was raised American in New York City. And then I moved back home. This year would be 11 years in June. I studied marketing and I studied sectional title and HOA management, and I really love what I do. But I also recently moved to Johannesburg in October. I have been expressing myself with the types of things I wear and who I'm with, the circles that I mix in, friends that influence and drive each other to be better. You know, I never ever thought I would wear nail polish or express my feminine side more. And that is what I've been doing. That is Suhail Desai. I've learned that is the real Suhail Desai. And yes, I have my masculine part of me because I'm a man, but I also have my feminine part of me, and I've been learning to embrace it more and appreciate it more and let it come out more. And Suhail Desai, me, who I am, doesn't let people tell me who I can be and what I can be, how I can act. I'm fun, I'm caring, I'm loving, I'm warm-hearted, I'm funny, I make people laugh, I'm the life of the party. I love being around my friends. My friends are very special to me. My friends are my family. And to embark on this project that I am doing with you guys, they are so proud of me. And, you know, I might become emotional, so please excuse that.
You're more than welcome. So I just want to backtrack a bit because you mentioned something that's very interesting. So you spoke about you being masculine. You have the masculine side of you, and then you also have the feminine. And lately you are expressing or on this journey of exploring the feminine side. What point did you realize that from that expression you were gay, or are you gay? Let me actually ask you.
I'm very much proudly gay. Very much.
At what point did you discover that you were gay, if it's a discovery?
I was 10 years old and I used to play with my sister's dolls. And yes, there are people that play with their sisters' dolls. But that's how I found out that I'm gay. At 10 years old, you aren't so fully developed as an adult. You're still a child, but you are well aware of your surroundings. And I realized that I'm different. When I was 13 years old, going through puberty and, becoming an adult, I had a girlfriend in school, but she was more my friend than my girlfriend. I gave her one kiss and I realized that I'm gay. And I told her, I'm gay. I'm sorry, I don't feel anything from this. And she said, I know. And we are friends today. And it's so amazing. At that age, you don't know where you are going, but I embraced it. At 13, I knew that I'm gay and this is who I am. But I kind of pushed it aside because the thoughts came to my head. Oh my God, what are my parents going to think? I'm Muslim. What is the community going to think? What is my mom's family going to think? Because we are more closer to my mom's side. And my mom comes from a staunch Muslim family. I was in that thought. When I was 15 years old, I never had feelings for women ever. Okay, I'm going to be open. I had my first sexual experience when I was 14 years old. And that is when I realized that I'm gay. And at 15 is when I embraced it myself. I told myself, look here, this is who I am. This is me. I am gay. At 16 is when I came out to my mom. And she had a moment and she started crying. And, Muslim parents, some parents do, even in Christianity and other religions as well. There are parents that don't accept it, that go through a hard time with it. It's normal. I understood what my mom was going through, but I had no choice but to tell her because my mom's cousin was going to tell her. I basically, put my life aside to come out. From 16 through 19, I was studying and working, and I was finding myself more and more. I never was someone that would be holding hands in public. That I wasn't that person. And I grew to understand that straight couples can do it. And why can't we, as people part of the LGBTQIA+ community, can't express ourselves? Why am I as a gay man not allowed to express myself and hold my boyfriend's hand, if I have one? I learned to embrace myself more. And I'm very proud of the journey that life has taken me through. So when I moved to South Africa back home when I was 19 years old, I moved in with my mom's sisters. I was living in between Joburg and a small town called Escort next to Drakensberg. And I went through a very tough time, very, very tough time. I went through abuse. When my family found out, my cousins didn't want anything to do with me. It was just someone that only sees the good in people shouldn't be going through something like that. It was a very tough thing to deal with. But I kept quiet. I did whatever I needed to do, and I kept my family happy until one day I got home from work, and there was a whole proposal going on for me. And when I expressed myself that my family, you guys know that I'm gay. Why are you doing this to this girl's family? Why? They took me to my grandfather's room and they hit me really badly. And I've kept quiet about it all these years. And today's the first time I openly spoke about it. It was very bad. Then I got a job here in Joburg, and the employer found out that I'm gay. They basically either gave me an ultimatum, either I go back home to my family, or I go to, it's like a workshop thing where you go and preach Islam and you go basically touring to spread the word of Islam. and you stay in the mosque, and then you do workshops and stuff in the mosque and stuff like that. And I was either forced to go to that, which is actually 40 days, or I go back home to my family in Escort. So I chose to go back to my family in Escort. Then I was faced with the abuse again, and sorry, it is a bit difficult to speak about now. I never thought it would be.
It's
And
okay. I am actually feeling very emotional right now.
I never
I'm so,
realized it was going to be so emotional, but because I always speak about it, I speak to it openly to some of my friends, but speaking about it openly and knowing that it's going somewhere is making me relive those emotions of the abuse that I've experienced. But I'm going to try and keep it back. I went back to my family in Escort, and I basically was moved into the granny cottage at my auntie's house. My cousins didn't want me in the main house while they were there. But I'm the eldest cousin. My sister, my brother, and myself are the eldest cousins. And I'm the eldest out of all the cousins. So to be disrespected like that, was a very eye-opening thing. So I moved full-time into the granny cottage, and I would only go into the main house during breakfast and lunch times, or if I'm not at work. I used to have supper all alone in the granny cottage, and that is what I used to go.
Was the segregation by the family, or it was just a choice that you made for your own peace?
It was by the family. Mom's sister thought I was going to rub off my gayness onto them, or that I am going to maybe try and do something to my cousins sexually, because they were all three boys. I've never disrespected anybody in terms of what they want or don't want. I've got straight friends who I would really respect, and I would never cross a boundary. Why my family thought of me that way, I don't know, but I would never do that to anybody, let alone my own family. So it was something that they made me do. They basically made me move into the granny cottage. Then they made me do the 40-day workshop thing. So they gave my own family gave me an ultimatum. It's either you want to live here under our roof properly and go to the 40-day workshop, or you move out and you're on your own. I did the 40-day workshop thing, and most of the people there, the Molana, who is like a priest, knew, our leader of the group knew that I'm gay, and he is the one that he didn't tell anyone. It was between us, but that workshop I was there because of him. And I went, we toured Swaziland and Namibia, and we came back to South Africa, and along the whole route, we ended up back in Durban. Yeah, that's what I went through. And as much as this Molana knew, so I was segregated by the Muslim community because Escort is a small town, okay? Escort is a very small town, and people started knowing. It spread, okay? Not because of me. I think it was my cousins, but the news spread that, look, so-and-so's family, Suhail, her nephew is gay, okay? We used to go to the mosque, which was just around the corner from where my auntie lived. I wasn't welcomed there. Nobody would stand next to me. Nobody would sit next to me. It became so bad that I almost went into a depression until I met a family from my father's side, who is my father's cousins. And my one cousin is married to a colored girl. And she basically encouraged me to put myself first. and I ran away from home. I moved to Cape Town all alone. I had nobody besides that family. That's how my life started, in Cape Town, all alone. When I landed in Cape Town, my mom's sister asked me, what time are you coming home for supper? I said, I'm not coming home. I just boarded a flight. I landed in Cape Town. The message that I got from her was, you are dead to us. Whatever you do in your life is on your own. Don't ever talk to us again. When you come crawling back to our doorstep, we're going to kick you and leave you outside that door, because we don't want you part of our family anymore. And I was in Cape Town all alone. At that time, of course, I had no friends, nothing, only that family. It was a very tough thing. I kept quiet. I didn't say anything. I just went on with my life, started as a real estate agent. However, going back to the night I landed in Cape Town, not sure if I should say this, but my mom's sister said, well, one of these days I'm going to die from AIDS. Those are the words that were sent to me in a message. Now, I've been in Cape Town for 8 years before moving to Joburg. And I found myself more and more, as I grew a year older, I realized who I am, and I started embracing me more and more and more and more. My family didn't speak to me for 3 years, and then they suddenly resurfaced, and every time they phone me, they always lecture me about how being gay is wrong in Islam, and they're going to pray for me to change and all of that stuff, and how can I be engaging in an act so dirty and living it openly also. Yeah, so I was in Cape Town for 8 years and built myself from there on my own, all on my own. I started embracing my religion because I stopped practicing it, because I myself believed what people said, that you can't be gay and be Muslim. But you can. God is amazing, okay? Allah is amazing. God is amazing. He's universal. He is everyone's God. He loves his people. He created his people. I'm as much as a Muslim I am than what a normal heterosexual Muslim is. Doesn't make me any less of a Muslim. I feel I was born gay. Okay, I am born gay. I knew it from when I was a young boy. If God didn't want me to be like this, why would he create me like this? Why? And we have some people that are going to say, oh, but you can't question God's words. You can't question the Quran. You can't. I want to question it. Part of this organization, which I can't really disclose, but it's a Muslim organization, where it embraces people to be themselves. The head of the organization said that the way he understands the Quran is that God said sodomy was, the act of sodomy was the sin, not homosexuality, not being gay. That is how I see it also. When I understood it that way, that's how I saw it. So the Quran talks about the act, the sinful act of sodomy. It's the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. That's how I understand it too. And if I was not meant to be gay, or if it was a wrong act, or if it's a sin, or whatever anyone calls it, or it's haram, or whatever, why do we have these feelings? Why am I attracted to a man and not a woman?
So you've raised a really important, you've struck a chord on what you just said now, that it is the act and not the person. You spoke about sodomy, which in my mind equates to rape, you understand?
Yes.
It is that act. And so often when it comes to the LGBTIQ plus community, there's an overlooking of the person and who they are. And there's a damnation of the person and who they are. Yet even the act of sodomy or the act of rape is found across where in the heterosexual community, and that's not made up. There's no brouhaha around that. So you've really touched a really important aspect there. And I just want us to go a bit deeper in terms from a religious perspective. What are your beliefs? What's your understanding as a gay man from your spiritual walk and the scriptures? What revelation have you come to?
What I understand, it was the act of sodomy, the act of rape, a man raping a man. You know, it was never it's a man having sex with a man. It was the act of raping another man. That's how I understand it, and that's how I see it. And as a gay man, my spiritual journey, I see myself as a Muslim, an openly gay Muslim, that I'm the same person. I might be interested in men, but I'm Muslim. I'm fully Muslim. I can read the Quran. I can pray, whatever prayers I need to pray. I never forgot that. I take that with me. I know the meanings of the prayers also.
So there's a certain, I keep going back to the word discrimination when it comes. It's almost like you cannot practice Islam without, if you're not heterosexual, for example. You can't, but that's not how it is. And this is what we want to try and break down in this conversation, that you can still be who you are and still be a religious person.
You're more than welcome. You more than can be Muslim and be gay.
Yes. And there's no separation of the two.
No, there isn't. And a lot of people do not understand this. The educated scholars, the Mulanas, the higher people, I'm sure they've all got a past. I 100% believe they've had a past. This is what they've become. You study to become this person. You didn't wake up and say, you know what, I memorized the Quran. You study it, you go and read it, and you read it over and over again. I'm sure they've got a past.
Absolutely. And there's no condemnation on their past.
Exactly.
And there's no condemnation on who they are.
And because of the people they've become, people turn a blind eye on it, And I'm sorry that I'm laughing, from going to being emotional to laughing.
It's the hypocrisy, I guess. Maybe that's the word.
It's funny. The hypocrisy is funny. It's very damning to me. I cannot understand it. Cannot understand you can be this person but be a hypocrite. Meanwhile, Islam teaches not to be a hypocrite. So why are you a scholar and being a hypocrite? Why does the rules not apply to you? I believe, and I even see it this way. You can be Muslim and you can be gay. Your spiritual journey with God has nothing to do with who you're attracted to. Like I said, if I was not meant to be this way, why do I have these feelings? Why was I created like this? If it's wrong, if it's so wrong, if it's so haram, why do we have these feelings? Why am I having these feelings? Why have I never done what most Muslim men do and get married and have kids and hide themselves?
So in our religion, it's pretty much put to, you've got demons in you. That's how it's put,
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
That's why in our earlier discussion, I'd mentioned that there's almost this perceived unacceptability of the LGBTIQ plus community. There's almost like an automatic assignment of damnation. You're this evil, horrible person. And yet the irony of most religions is that they come from a place of love. If Allah can love you, if God can love me, why can you not love the next person? Allah doesn't come and say, I love you only if you're straight. I love you only if you're blue, only if you're red, only if you're green. He has no restriction in terms of who he loves. He loves everybody equally. And why is it that we cannot express that very same love, regardless of who we are, of who the person is. If you can love a murderer, you can love a rapist, you can surely, not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with being gay, surely you can still extend the same love to, even if you don't believe in that. And that's where we should come from as humanity, from a place of love, not a place of condemnation, not a place of shame. And that's my view. I'm not sure what you think. Yeah.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree with that. That is my view as well. I am as much of a good-hearted person as in the next person. You know, I probably might be even more good-hearted than what you think you are. You know, just because I'm gay and part of the community, you see me as someone that has lost their way, or that you have demons in you, or you know, you are always committing sin. And why? How? Why? You know, I feel exactly like what you said. You can be a good person, you can be gay, you can be a good person, you can be straight, you know, you can be, Allah accepts everyone. We are all his creation. Why do I have these feelings if I was not meant to be this way? And I love how people go into it and say, your lifestyle. I hate that word. It is not a lifestyle. It's who I am. A lifestyle is a choice. My lifestyle is I gym and I eat healthy. That is a choice. It is not a choice that I'm gay.
Yes.
It is what I was created with, what I was born with.
Coming back to the issue of, I guess, the fear, part of the fear is, you spoke about sodomy. Part of the fear with most people, because it's something, because of religion, we don't open that Pandora's box to actually inquire and say, okay, what is this all about? Part of the fear in terms of the act of sodomy is that there's a lack of understanding that by being gay, it doesn't mean you're a perpetrator. And there are consequences behind someone being a perpetrator. We've had a couple of interviews around healing trauma from victims that are of abuse. And so often there's always a link between the two, where an abused person abuses the next person, and there's a direct link to that. And that's a totally different story. That's somebody who's dealing with their trauma passing on. And it can be somebody who's straight, it can be somebody who's gay. We see that whole perpetration showing up in different pockets of society. We see it in the gender-based violence. We see it men abusing women, women abusing men. We're seeing people murdering each other. But there's a brewing cauldron there around the whole area of issue of perpetration. But it has nothing to do with your sexuality. I think it's having to differentiate that and separate those two elements.
It doesn't. So like you mentioned before, and like how I said, the act of sodomy is rape. Okay, men raping men. I don't, as a gay man, go out and want to rape someone. And people do not understand that. Thankfully, so most of my friends are women, and you become friends with their husbands or their boyfriends, and they're all these, straight men. I would never imagine hanging out with a gay man. However, look, my friends' husbands are all beautiful looking men, okay? But that boundary doesn't ever cross it in my head because they are my friends. Same thing with a child, if I am watching a friend's child, or if I'm holding a friend's child, does not mean I want to rape that child. Does not mean that I'm going to make that child gay or give him the gay disease, As a gay man, can I tell you, my most biggest fear, my most biggest fear is walking out on the street and getting raped. That is a fear that I live with every day. When I go jogging, when I go to the mall, when I go to a club, when I go to an event, when I'm driving late at night, is someone going to follow me and do something to me and rape me? I live that day because it happens. So if I'm scared of it as a gay man, why would I go and do it out to someone else, to a child, to another man, to, the act of sodomy? Why would I go and do that? And people do not comprehend that you can be as gay as I am, and you can be as normal as I am. I'm not abnormal. I don't go out looking to commit the act of sodomy or rape. I'm scared of it happening to me.
So understanding that you have boundaries, you have morals, you have ethics, you a normal human being like everybody else. I think that's what I'm taking away from this. One last question that I want to ask you before we end this interview is that this may be a critical interview for non-gender conformists that might be struggling with the same gender discrimination. Is there any, and perhaps maybe you can be the voice, or you are the voice, or you probably coming up as a voice that can represent those that are still in the dark, those that are still afraid to come out, especially in really highly religious and highly patriarchal or highly cultural environments. How would you enlighten the masses on the plight or consequences of non-tolerance when it comes to religion, culture, to the LGBTIQ plus community, or anybody who's non-gender conform, who's a non-gender conformist?
First of all, I definitely want to be the voice. Okay. I'm all for that. I'm pro being yourself, standing up for yourself. And my message that I would like to say to other Muslim men or women or non-gender conforming individuals, be yourself. Okay. As much as you are in a staunch Muslim family, I did it, and it is so peaceful. You will find your heart is just enlightened. Your world is just easier because you can be yourself, and because you can do what you want. You want to wear heels? Go ahead, girl. You want to wear a dress? Go ahead. Be who you want to be. I am myself. I am Suhail. I am living my life. I want to be the voice to teach and show people that living your life is important. Put yourself first. Family is family. One day, most of them are going to die. Yet you spent all this time listening to what they say and their negativity and their backlash, Go out and be yourself.
That was a beautiful ending statement. I just really want to acknowledge you and all that you have gone through. And this is our fight. This is our journey as Collective Action Magazine to bring knowledge, education, and expose a lot of the misconceptions around many things surrounding gender-based violence. And I just want to hold space for you with the abuse and the trauma that you have gone through, and just let you know that we see you. We are here. We're a community, and we're gonna pray that we change this. We're gonna change this narrative and together. And it's a collaborative effort, and we're here to work with you.
Thank you. I do really want to say something that I might have left out. Two things. First of all, my heart really goes out to the people of Uganda. For you not to be allowed to be yourself really touches my soul, really touches my heart. It's a very emotional thing to read on Twitter, to all the backlash, to everyone supporting it. Yes, you are entitled to your own opinion. I get that. However, we are entitled to live our lives as well. We aren't going to make people gay. We aren't going to rape anybody. We aren't going to kill people. We are being ourselves. I am being myself. And the second thing I wanted to say is, I might have left out that when I moved to Joburg and when I started embracing my feminine side of me, in January this year, I had a party. It was my birthday. I turned 30. And the whole theme of my birthday was, it was an all-white party. And it was close friends that I made here in Joburg. I have my close friends in Cape Town also. But they couldn't make it, I had this whole thing. It was an outfit. So my pants was a woman's pants. My shoes was a woman's shoe. My top was a woman's top. And It looked perfectly fine. Then I had a veil draped across my shoulders, because I was marrying myself. The thing was that I was getting married to my 30s and to myself and embracing myself. And I have to say, I received a message from my ex-boyfriend to say how we are such clowns and my friends are all clowns because they are rooting me to be the clown, Then I received a message from my aunt saying that, can I please remove the family that follow me on Instagram? Because to commit an act or a sinful act like the way that I'm doing is one thing, but to commit it openly is another, and I'm causing shame and disrespect to the family. My response was just, hi, I'll think about it, which I never did. I mean, if you wanted to be removed from Instagram, that's on you. I'm not going to do it for you. But you are there for a reason. You want to see what I'm up to. So continue. I'm not ashamed of who I am. But that is what made me embrace myself. That getting married to my 30s, so getting married to myself, that theme of my birthday party this year was about me embracing every part of me and loving myself. And that's the message that I want to say at the end is, don't forget to love yourself. It was very peaceful for me. It was the best liberating thing that I could ever do for myself. I wore a veil. I wore a veil.
Just send us pictures.
I wore a veil. It's sometimes when I look at the pictures, I can't believe I was that person. I was so proud to go and do it. And
beautiful.
I want to say that when you are yourself, it's very peaceful. It's the best thing you can do. It is what you can do for your soul. No matter what the family says, no matter what, haters are going to hate. Haters going to hate.
Whether you're straight or not.
Haters going to hate. Whether you are a good person or a bad person, haters are going to hate. Absolutely. So let them hate. It's up to you to be yourself and to be who you are meant to be. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for that beautiful ending. I think I take a piece of it as well, because I may be straight, but I do have certain compartments that I hold back. Learn to love yourself and embrace yourself and be who you are, because God knows that's how He created you. Be who you are.
Very much. Very, very much agree.
Thank you so much, Suhail, for such a touching conversation. And be the light, be the beacon. Go shine, go spread the word, go spread the word of Allah to the world.
Thank you. I'll be spreading my word of it's okay to be gay and it's okay to be Muslim.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Beautiful conversation and the questions, and yes, it touched a nerve, but thank you so much for your time as well. Do appreciate it.